This is lesson 15 from module 1. This is the homework. On this lesson, we're doing more long division and finding out what to do when you have something left over and we're not allowing remainders anymore. So the first thing that we do is we look at our 7/10 divided by 4, and we would put 7/10, 4, 5, 6, 7 in our place value chart. So that would represent the 7/10. Then we know that we're going to be dividing this by 4, so we would make 4 spaces on our place value chart. And then we can say that we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's not enough for 2 to go in each one, so we would have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we would still have these 3 left over. So we're going to take these 3 tenths and we're going to move them over here and we're going to make them 30 hundredths. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay. And then we can say that we have 30 hundredths, and then we need to divide them up into 4 equal groups. So we know that 4 goes into 30 7 times, but there's 2 left over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then that means that we have 2 left over, and those 2 are going to become, those 2 hundredths then can be broken up into their equal pieces. So we would have 20 thousandths. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we can already see that 20 can be broken up into 4 equal groups with 5 in each group. So when we look at our number, we can see that we have 0 ones, 1/10, 7 hundredths, and 5 thousandths. So that's how we would use the place value chart to show that. And then when we go to do the standard algorithm, we do it just like we would normally do. So we know that 4 doesn't go into 0, so we can put a 0 there, and we can do this if we need to be able to remind ourselves that 0 times 4 is 0, and that we subtract here 0 minus 0 is 0, and then we bring down the 7, keeping our decimal where it goes. 4 goes into 7 once. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then just like we did over here, we took these 3 tenths, just like we have 3 tenths here, and we're going to put a 0 here because we're not changing this number by putting a 0 there, and bring down the 0, making this 3 tenths now 30 hundredths, which allows us to divide our 4 into 30, giving us 7. 7 times 4 is 28, with 2 left over. So now we have to do it again, just like we did before. We took our 2 hundredths, we made it 20 thousandths. 4 goes into 20, 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20 with 0 left over, and we can stop. So that's how we've been showing it with our place value charts, and by practicing adding that 0 on to the end to change it to the next smallest place value. And when we look at just using the standard algorithm, we need some practice on these as noticed in class today. So we need to remember that if we have the linear equation here, when we go ahead and set this up with our division box, the 2 now goes on the outside and the 7/10 goes on the inside, and we know that 2 doesn't go into 0, so we keep our decimal, and then 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1, but we can't do that, so we make this 10 hundredths. 2 goes into 10 hundredths 5 times. And the kids know that they can keep going until they get the 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. They know they need to keep going until 0. And we talked about today how most of these are going to stop after 2 or 3 zeros being added on the end. So if they're on their 5th 0 and they just keep going and going and going, it's probably a good idea to go back and check your math to make sure that you were doing it correctly. And let's see, I'll go just down to this one real quick. So we have 8 into 91. First of all, we need to make sure that we are setting it up correctly. The 8 goes on the outside, the 9 goes in the inside. We're trying to see how many times 8 goes into 91, just like up here, 8 into 91. 8 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. With 1 left over, bring down the 1. 8 goes into 11 once. 1 times 8 is 8. With 3 left over. So now today, some of the kids were getting stuck. Well, now what do? We need to remember that if we add a decimal and a 0 on the end, we can take these 3 ones and make them 30/10ths. So now 8 goes into 33 times. 8 times 3 is 24. We have 6 left over with a 0 again. 63. 7 times 56 with 4 left over and a 0 again. And 5 times. So we end up with 11 and 375 thousandths. And then the word problems are asking them to do the same kind of division work to be able to take decimals and divide them into whole number pieces and adding those zeros onto the end so we can keep going and not have remainders.